Happy birthday, President Andrew Jackson. Welcome, one and all, as we raise our glass in toast to another president of these United States, one Andrew Jackson. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to look back at a time when me, Tony, and Chicken got together, and we raised our glass to Andrew Jackson last year for a different podcast. But I figured it would be utterly appropriate here for all of you today. The one thing that's different is we used unaged corn whiskey to toast the good general. In reality, it would have been unaged rye whiskey, so that's why I'm having some Mitcher's rye whiskey. He was a man who lived a very, very interesting and varied life. So here we're going to take a look back at a toast that we had to the President of these United States, me, Tony, and Chicken. But before we get to that, let me just say, happy birthday, Mr. President. And enjoy this little addendum to the presidential birthday toast.
Welcome, one and all, to our tribute to the presidents of the United States of America. We are starting off with Andrew Jackson. March 15th. Welcome, everybody. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E., joined by my indomitable broadcast partners.
Chicken?
Tony fucking G.
Well, we are here to raise our glass to every single U.S. president and some other dates of note that we will get to as time passes. But for today, Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory. We are going to raise a toast for every U.S. president what their favorite drink was, if we can figure it out. This is based on a lot of research I've done. And to what I can find, Andrew Jackson was a fan of whiskey, just plain old distilled, usually white whiskey.
That's as clear as it gets, folks.
Yep.
Promise it's not water.
This is a bottle of Howard Hooch from Loop River Distilling, from our grain to your glass. 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. Here in Howard County, Nebraska, we pour our hearts into our grain and our grain into the glass. This is from St. Paul, Nebraska, right here in Nebraska.
Yep, we've been looking forward to doing this.
And this is a pretty good facsimile to what Andrew Jackson and folks in his day would have been drinking. So we're going to give a little taste test and also a small little toast to Andrew Jackson and Chicken. While you're looking that up, you got a couple little factoids you seem you're wanting to get out?
Well, I don't know about that, Phil. I was just going to give you a little rundown. 7th president of the United States. He was a Democrat-Republican.
Before that split.
Let's not get into
Let's not get into all that, but yes, before the party split.
Yes.
He is credited with the modern Democratic Party.
Yep.
He also, a lot of the presidential powers that we now take for granted as a president having, Jackson was the person that kind of seized upon that. So he's the person that kind of created the modern presidency that we currently see. When he got elected and his inauguration party, the party was so wild that Jackson actually had to escape out a window, and he spent the night at a tavern down the street, and they actually had to use orange whiskey punch in giant barrels that they put on the White House lawn to get all of the partiers out, because Jackson was seen as, strangely enough, despite the fact that he was very landed, he was general, he was a wealthy man, he was seen as a president of the people. He was the first president elected when more people in our nation were given voting franchise.
Okay.
So he's a lot of contradictions. He's also one of the few presidents that's actually killed people, like a lot of people. Not only did he, in war, he also challenged people to duels that would question him or his wife's honor. And the most...
America.
The lowest estimate for as many duels as he's been, the lowest number was 13. Now, the legends grow.
That's a pretty good record, 13-0.
He got shot several times. There was
Sounds like he won.
There was one person who he actually said, "I'll give you the first shot. I'll let you take the first shot."
Ballsy.
He takes one. This guy was an expert marksman too. Takes it. Takes Jackson a couple minutes to get himself back up. Returns fire, kills him.
Again, I think that's a 13-0 record there, folks.
And the reason he carried a cane, Old Hickory, is he used it to beat people to death, nearly. He survived an assassination attempt while president, and when the guns didn't go off for the assassin, he turned around with his cane and beat his would-be assassin nearly to death. And he also was responsible for the destruction of the first Bank of America, our first General Federal Reserve. And when asked his greatest regrets and his greatest accomplishments, his greatest regret was that he didn't hang his vice president. And his greatest accomplishment, and it's reportedly the last words he said before he died, "I killed the bank." So Andrew Jackson was a fairly colorful individual by any measure.
That's eccentric.
Sounds like a Democrat I might actually vote for.
He's got a couple of hang-ups. He wasn't perfect, okay? But if you're gonna
sounds like an American.
He is authentically American. And to that, Andrew Jackson, we raise our glass to you as the 7th American president of these United States. Andrew Jackson, lover of whiskey, U.S. president. Gentlemen,
BAMF. Happy birthday. Oh, that is actually very sweet.
Yeah, Nebraska corn.
That's really smooth.
But this is what they would have been drinking in his day. Now, Tony, as a clear spirit, what do you rate that?
I'm still taking that all in. That's an interesting. That is interesting. I really expected more of a moonshiny type booze, but that is very sweet and much more mellow and smooth.
Yeah, you could cocktail that if you wanted to.
Yeah, there's not much burn to it. You're right. It goes down pretty smooth, and even throwing it back wasn't too hard.
That's why I'm going to take a few drinks and not slam it, because I'm like, I might want a second taste of that, and I'm glad I took 3.
Yeah, I'm thirsty. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. On a clear spirit scale, I'm surprised. I think you could do a lot with that. I'm gonna give that a 4. I'm actually quite impressed with that as a clear spirit.
Yeah, it's got a very distinct corn flavor.
Yeah, love
but it's
that.
like almost sweet corn.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it
very nice
3.75.
Yeah,
I like it.
For a clear spirit, for sure.
Because you're comparing it to vodkas and stuff.
Well, vodkas and gins and some tequilas. Yeah.
You could do a lot with that and create just creativeness of what you could do for a clear spirits and how much you could probably blend and mix that with some other recipes. I don't think you can go wrong with that. I agree. For a clear spirit, that's better than most clear spirits I've ever touched.
Top, middle, bottom shelf, gentlemen.
That for me is a middle shelf. It's an interesting name. It's a good story. It's a local, but it doesn't have the je ne sais quoi you would have for a top shelf that you would want to broadcast as a top shelf. I would say definitely a middle.
I disagree. I'd still say bottom mainly. This is one of those like best kept secrets. This is for small groups to enjoy, and that's I don't know, to me.
Sure.
And not for its quality necessarily. It probably could be a middle shelf if you really didn't care, but that's my secret little thing to have some fun on my own.
Okay.
This is,
I can see that.
This is, depending on how much room, but this would probably be normally a middle shelf for me, just because not a lot of clear whiskeys are going to make it to the middle shelf, but this one, I think will.
I don't think I'd ever put a clear
now,
spirit
if my
on
middle
the top
shelf's
shelf.
getting a little too...
That's my thing.
Because of the glare.
Yes, the glare, the aesthetics, yes.
But, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, folks, this was our toast and tribute to the 7th President of the United States, one Andrew Jackson, Old Hickory.
So there we are, folks. That was just a little look back and a little toast that we had last year that I felt that I should share with you this year as we all raise our glass to the President of these United States, one Andrew Jackson, on his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Well, folks, join me here tomorrow for our toast to President Madison. Catch you later, folks.